And welcome back to redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and today we're working on T-strap baby booties. They are sickening sweet. I call this one the styling baby booty. We have the fairy tale princess baby booty as well as the ruby slippers. Reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. So what we have here is Red Heart Leicester in sheen, and you're thinking to yourself, why would you get that versus over something like Super Saver? And when you compare a Super Saver to the Leicester, you can see that the Leicester is a lot more smaller. So if you go to cross compare this yarn and use the bigger normal yarn, you're going to notice that your booty will be a lot bigger. What we have here is that these two here are made with the shimmer yarn by Red Heart, and you can see that the booty is slightly bigger, so it gives you an opportunity to be able to do that. If you want these patterns, it's free. It's available on my website as well as the redheart.com. There's a link in the more information of this video in order to access it. So let's get started on making these T-strap booties, compliments of redheart.com. Before we begin, you're going to notice that there's two different sizes available on the pattern, but they're still using the 3.5mm or a size F crochet hook. What you have is we have chain 15, but you're going to see in brackets chain 17, and so 17 is the larger size available up to 6 months of age. So anything in the brackets are 6 months, and out of the brackets are up to 3 months. It's newborn at 3 months. What I would recommend, if you have an opportunity, print out the pattern and just highlight all the ones in brackets if you're doing the 6 month one, then you don't get confused on the size. So let's get started, and right now let's create a slip knot. Just wrap it around your finger twice, back over forward, and there are slower tutorials available on creating slip knots. So just slip in your crochet hook, and at this point it's saying to chain 15. So I am working on the 3 month pattern size, so just substitute the size if you want to do the bigger. So let's chain 15. Remember that the first one never counts as one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So there is your first line. So you can see how small this is going to be, but remember that we're working on the bottom of this particular sole here, so it's going to get bigger as we expand it out. Now if you're looking at the pattern, you're going to notice a lot of 11 and 13s, and 11 is for the newborn, the 13 is for the bigger size. And the reason why I tell you that is that it's actually very consistent when you're working through this pattern completely. So it's asking you to do 2 half double crochets, third chain from the hook. So you got 1, 2, and 3. So just wrap going into the chain, and we want to do 2 half double crochets into that. When you skipped that many chains when we went over, that actually counts as a half double crochet as well. So in actual fact what you're looking at is 3 altogether, but we won't get into the specifics of that right yet. So let's continue along. The next 11 spaces are going to be chain spaces, are going to be half double crochet. So wrap and going in. So I'm just going to count that out. So 1, 2, and 3. And what I want you to do is continue all the way to 11. I'll meet you back up in just a sec. That doesn't take you to the end of the line. Just meet me back up where you have 11 done. Now that you have your 11 done, the last stitch here is going to be 3 half double crochets. Remember what I said in the very beginning, that we had 2 half double crochets here and then the chaining of 2 to equal 3. That's exactly what we're doing on this side, but we don't have that chain to worry about. So we're just going to put in 3 half double crochets into the final chain. And what this is doing is you can kind of see that I'm rotating the project naturally because I know what I'm up to, but we're actually turning a corner, and so we're coming down the one side and then back around like a racetrack and meeting back up on the other side. So let's continue the next part, and what I want you to do, this is the actual straggler. I want you to leave it on top of the line, and I want you just to continue to trap it into position. So just like we did 11 half double crochets going down this direction, we want to do 11 coming on the other side of the line. You're only going to see one string, that's all there is. So just do 11 half double crochets. And so basically to trap in that string, I'm going into a stitch, and there's only going to be one stitch instead of 2. Okay, you're trapping in that straggler as you go. So a total of 11. We'll meet you back up in just a sec where we'll finalize off this round. So we're back, and I want you to, now we've got our 11 in, and I just need you to slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 that you started off with. So here's the thing. This is what kind of surprised me about this pattern, is that the slip stitch is never on the very back heel. When you look at it here, it's actually on the side. So I would have expected it to be along the back, but you know what, this designer was thinking that a lot of people don't like to see the seam lines right on the back of a heel. So that's exactly what we're doing. So let's move along to your next step. Okay, so we're about to start back up again, and now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and it says to put a half double crochet into the same space that you joined. So do you see this hole right underneath? That's exactly your first stitch, and it's a half double crochet, and we have to put 2 more sets of half double crochets in as we go around this circle. So where do we do that? We just have to look for the very next stitch that's available, okay, and put in 2 half double crochets. So this one's on the very back of the heel. And then we want to do that one more time. So we're growing out our heel proportionally at this point. So you have, essentially you have 3 groups of half double crochet. The first chaining obviously counts as one of them. So let's move along, and we're looking down, and it now says that we have to put double crochet into the next 11 stitches. Well, here's the hint. By the time you get to the very end, this is when you start going around in a circle and we start making some differences. So we're just going to double crochet, so wrap, going into the stitch, and just do that. And we want to do that 11 times. So continue down the line for 11 double crochets, and I'll meet you back up in a second where we'll turn the corner and come back around. So we've come all the way back down, and just like we had on the start that we had 3 groups of half double crochet, we want to do the same here. So the hint is when you went to 11, you actually takes you right to the very edge where we're going to do 3 more groups of half double crochet. So the next 3 stitches are going to have 2 half double crochets into each stitch. So we want to do that for a total of 3 times. So this one's right on the very tip of the foot, as you can see, and then the final is coming around the corner for another 2. Just like that. And now that we've done that, we need to start back double crocheting again along this line, and that is a total of 11 going all the way back to the join. So we're just double crochet ourselves to do that, and we're going to meet back up, and we're going to slip stitch and carry on to your next round. So we've come all the way back to our 11, and I want to show you this. Some people think to go into this stitch here, and a lot of people don't realize that when you chained, it actually counts as part of that. And so when I've got my 11 in, it looks like you're actually missing a stitch, but you're not. So you just need to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 to bring it to conclusion for this round. So this is what we have so far. So you can still see we have one more round to go before we start working up on the side of this booty. So we're going to begin again, and we're just going to chain 2, and like before, we're going to do half double crochets and one of them is going to be right into the same spot that you joined. So this time, last time we had 3 groups of half double crochet. This time we want a total of 6. So we've already done 1 group just the way we did it here. So the next 5 stitches have to be 2 double crochet or half double crochets each into those. Okay, so just the next 5. So I kind of look at everything as groups. If that's easier for you to understand, great. And if not, I have no idea what to tell you. So I'm just continuing to go along, and basically I'm looking for 6 groups. So you can see the groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. So essentially, now that I got my 6 in, you should be able to look at it and see where you started and stopped. It looks like it's at the same spot on both sides. Pretty ingenious, right? So now you want to do some double crochets again, and we want to do the next 11. So remember what I said in the very beginning, it's all in those 11s. So once you understand that, it's actually really easy. So work your way all the way for 11 more double crochets, and I'll meet you back up on the other side where we'll turn the corner once again. So I'm all the way down, and now I'm ready to turn the corner, and just like we had 6 groups of half double crochet this side, that's what we have to do on this side. So after you get your 11 in, the next 6 stitches will be 2 half double crochets each into each one of the stitches. So let's do that. So 1, 2, drop my stitch, sorry about that. Okay, so there's 1 group, and continue to do that all the way around the corner. It's like a racetrack. So this is the very final side that before we start growing up, size on the sole before we start growing up on the bottom. Like that. So there's 3 groups already. 4. And we got 5. Already got 6. And again, just like before, where you started the groups of 6, it should be equal on the other side. And now it's 11 double crochets to the end. And just count that out, and we'll meet back up in a second where we'll finalize it and move along to your next step. I'm all the way back around, and we have a total of 11. If you do not have 11, fake the last one. Fake it in there, put it in. The counts actually matter, especially when it comes to the top of the booty here, where it's turning the corner in order to bring it to a conclusion right at the top, right here. You will notice here in these ones here, I was off by 1 stitch, and you can tell that it's kind of got a warped shape to it, and that's because I was off. So make sure you do have your counts of 11 in there, and if not, just fake it in. Just put it in the very last one in order to do that. So that's my little hint for cheating for today. Okay, round number 4 is an interesting one. We actually have a lip. Do you see this lip right here? We need to create that. That's what makes this turn so dramatically, just like that. So it says we just have to back post half double crochet, BPHDC, back post half double crochet into each stitch around. And it says do not join. So what we're going to just do now is work in a continuous circle. So we're just going to back post. So what we have to do is that you just have to look for it. So you're just going to wrap the material, go into the next stitch from behind. It's actually a post. Okay, so normally we would go into the top. We just want to wrap and go into a post, and then just flick it back. So just flick it back so it's in behind, and just half double crochet as normal. So let me show that again. So just wrap, going in. Okay, we just want to grab one of the posts. There's 2 in here. So you just got to just take your time, just separate the one out and just half double crochet, and then come back in and grab the next one. And what this is doing is forcing a lip to occur. You can already see the lip is starting to occur. So now we just want to come into the next one. These ones on the corner are a little bit tricky, but once you know what you're looking for, it's all good. And coming into the next one. I'm making this look harder than what it is. and that's very serious. I'm being very serious about that. So I can see in the last one, I want to point this out, that I grabbed too much. That's why it wasn't working. So it's good to show you my error as well. So we're just going to wrap, come into the front, grab a post, and just flick it back. So we just want one post. There we go, got it. And half double crochet as normal. So we're coming back into the next one. And it's important that you take your time when doing these posts. If you miss one, it's very noticeable afterward. Okay, so now you've just done that. I'm not going to take you through the whole entire round. I'm just going to get you around the corner. Just continuing to go on the back posts only. So back post meaning is that you're grabbing it from behind and then flicking it back out. So instead of grabbing it from the top. So if I was going front post double crochet, this is just a minor little lesson. Going front post, I would have my crochet hook coming from the front of the project and going in and then flicking it forward. So okay, so we're coming around. Got a couple more before I'm done this turn. I had never seen this done on a bootie before. I actually really like it. A lot of booties call for back loops only, but this really gives a really good definition for an edge. So we're only going around the back post. We're not growing the material because the booty is now going to grow straight up, and now we're on the segment here. So it's just a lot easier. As you can see, the stitches are a lot easier to access. And again, just go all the way around for half back post, half double crochet. It says do not join, so I'll meet you back up in a second where we'll continue along. I've almost come all the way around, and I want to make sure that I'm checking to make sure I have all of the posts. So you can see I've got them all along here, but I don't have this one, but I have the next one. So I have to make sure I grab everything before you move along to the next process. We're not doing a join at this point. We're just going to continue to go around in a circle. So we want to make sure that all of the posts are grabbed, because that lip will look a little wonky if one of them is not being grabbed in. So you can see now it's like a nice racetrack going all the way around. So let's move along to your next round, and it will be 5 and 6. Very, very, very simple. So we're going to just immediately start that next. To start the next round, we are not joining as I mentioned before. So now what we have to do is that we have to grab it right here. Do you see where the lip is kind of starting here? This is where we're going to grab it. So we're just going to half double crochet. This is for round number 5, and we didn't join, we didn't do a slip stitch, we just immediately started half double crocheting around. So I want you for this entire round just to half double crochet, and just meet me back up in a second while we move along to the next step. And really we are almost done. This is how quick this little project can be. So we're coming all the way back around. I haven't actually gone over the last stitch that started the last round yet, because you can kind of clearly see that, you know, you're just looking for the racetrack, around the racetrack, I guess. Just, you know, little tips to help you. So now for round number 6, we're now going to just half double crochet again. So continue to go all the way around, and what you're doing is that you're really starting to create the foundation. If you want to flip it forward, it'll look like a bathtub at this point, and you can see that the shoe is really starting to lift off and really make a really cute idea. So continue to half double crochet for round number 6, meet back up, and continue along. And we don't have very much left to go on this project. So now we're coming along really good at this point, and you can see the bottom, you can see it side growing up, and now it's time to start doing the lip that comes across the top of the foot, just like so. So as per the directions, half double crochet in each one of the next 21 stitches, and then 7 half double crochet together in the next 14 half double crochet. And then now let's get to it. So let's do that. So I'm going to give you a tip, but I'm going to get to it. I'm going to do the 21 first. So immediately let's count 21 half double crochets together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So now it says we have to do 7 half double crochets together. So here's my tip for you. If you are wrong at this particular point, what's going to happen is that you're going to end up with a wonky shoe. But what I want you to do is that just take advantage to where you are and be able to do and to follow along. What I noticed here when I did it is that I had the 7 half double crochets extend too far on the one side and not start earlier enough. And I figured it would be no big deal, but when I finished off, I realized that I should have backed out, because I could see that it was wrong at this point, that I should have backed out and maybe started 1 or 2 stitches a little earlier in order to bring it all the way around. This is where your creativity comes into a factor. So we need to do 2 together stitches for a total of 7 times. So we're going to wrap, okay, and this is how we do it. Wrap and going in, pull through, wrap, going into the next one, pull through. And so you'll have 5 on your hook, just pull through all 5. So that's one group of the 2 together. So wrap, through, pull through. Go to the next stitch, wrap, through, pull through, got 5, pull together. So that's 2. Wrap, through, pull through, wrap, next one, pull through all of them. So that's a total of 3 times. So wrap, through, wrap, and through. Okay, pull through. So that was a total of oh, I lost count. Okay. Oops, I finished that off too early. So wrap and through, wrap and through, pull through. And I just want to go back. So if you lost count like I just did, you can actually clearly see. So you've got a half double crochet. Those are together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got to do 2 more groups. So wrap through, pull through. Why does that look weird? Wrap through, pull through, wrap through, pull through. It looked weird because I only had 4 loops on my hook when I should have 5. And then finally the last one, wrap through, and then wrap through. Nope, that's wrong too. So wrap through, wrap, and through. Sorry about that. I really do apologize. So now what's happened is that if you look at the top of your shoe, I'm going to just lean it up here, you can clearly see where it stopped and started. I'm just going to pull a loop easier. So what I want to just do is kind of look at it. Where did it start on this side? When I started bringing them two together, it's right there. Okay, and where does it end? And you can kind of clearly see if it's at the front of your shoe or not. And so if it's not, and you see that it's sinking more this way, then what I would do is back that out and start maybe 2 stitches earlier to bring it more into the front. So that's just my little cheating tip, just like so. So let's continue along, and we are going to do half double crochets all the way back. It says for a total of 11 half double crochets then, and that'll take you back to the start. So 1, and do that, and I'll meet you back up in just a second. Now for the final round, number 8, it says to half double crochet in the next 21 half double crochets, then do 4 half double crochets together, and then the next 8. So let's begin. So let's do that 21. I'm not going to have you stick with me, so just do 21 half double crochets again. So this is 2 and 3, and continue that to 21. So here's a prime example. I've done the 21, but I'm way too far forward. So something's gone wrong within my stitch work here, but this is the whole point of crocheting, is that you can be really fanciful. The first time I did it, I was right on. So it's just a matter of understanding where you're stopping and starting at the back. So this whole row here is about putting four groups of half double crochet together. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to back up. So I'm going to pull some of these out. This is totally cheating, but it works. So what you want to just do is, if you're going to put 4 groups together and the 4 groups contain 2, I'm looking for the very tip, and the tip is right in between here. So then I'm going to count 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'm going to put my hook here, and I'm going to put in a cheating stitch marker here. Okay, so that I know that when I come around, the next 2 are going to be together. So what I want to just do now is that I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so basically on the 9th one here, I want to put another stitch marker in here. See, I know people really kind of mess up with this, so this is your opportunity to correct it. So now when you look at these stitch markers, you can see it's bang on properly. So if I would have continued the same stitch count that I was going at, you will notice that it would have screwed up. So I'm going to just reverse out. So this is a way of not really being disappointed and using your creativity to kind of solve issues if you're having them, if you've got your count off just incorrectly. So now I'm going to continue along, and instead of pulling apart my whole booty to kind of fix my problem, this is where I can fix it. So I'm going to half double crochet, and just don't mind the counts. This is the last revolution, so why pull everything apart when you've done all that work? So I want to go all the way to the stitch marker and include that one in. And now for the next, I want to create 4 groups of of 2 together. So just go wrap through, pull through, wrap, and go into the next one, pull through. You'll have 5 just like before, and pull through. And we want to do 4 groups of that. And because we've got our stitch marker in, we can clearly see where we need to go. Stitch markers are amazing if you can utilize them properly. Okay, you got 5 on there. And just the final. So this is a great way of really nailing the very front of the shoe without having to pull apart your work. And now you just have to continue to half double crochet back to where you started, and we just want to finalize this off and just fasten off and just weave in your ends at this point, because we're going to start on the very front of the shoe and start with the T-straps next. Now we're back, and we're going to do the T-straps now. We're just going to do the one section right in the front by itself. So that's going to stand alone. And I left my stitch markers in so that I can really clearly see. But you can clearly see this is the center of the stitch right at the base. Just like that. So let's begin, and I'm going to fasten on my yarn. So I just want to grab that and just go right into the center and fasten on. Okay, so I'm just going to pull the loop through, and I'm going to drop the straggler down, but I'm not going to let it go, just like so. And now I just want to chain 5. We're going to capture that straggler in just a few moments. So we're just going to pinch them all together and just chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now it says in the directions, I want to single crochet second from the hook in each one of the next 3, and then slip stitch where you did the attachment. So we're going to skip the very first one there, go to the second for a single crochet. And this is what I want you to do. That straggler that I asked you to put down, I want you to put it up into there so that you're wrapping it around like it's a string. So just going into the next stitch and just put that straggler in so it's getting trapped in there. Then you can safely cut it and you're not worrying about it falling out anymore when you do that. Okay, and so we want to do the next 3, and then it says slip stitch then to where you started. So go right back into the bootie, right down in the front where you attached it the first time. Go back in and pull it through for a slip stitch like that. And now we're going to fasten that off. That's how fast that one is. And so I'm just going to pull it up, and I'm just going to weave in the ends and make sure I get rid of all the stragglers. And there is the start of your point, just like you would see there. So we're ready now to start the actual loop that comes over top and grabs onto the very front of this right here. Now if you're doing the right hand version, which is the normal one that it says, and you look down and you see the left bootie, what's happening is that they're asking you to skip all these stitches, and then we're going to fasten on, and then we're going to just go back and forth just like that. Just very, very simple. So if you're doing the left, instead of starting on this side, what you're going to just do is still continue to look at it from this angle, but count it back looking over. So you're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then start and then come around this way and then back the other way. And what that will do is that it will put the join. This is actually a working loop just like so. So if you do both of them the very same, you're going to end up with 2 right feet when it comes to the booties. So I'm going to just do the left hand version just because I've already got the right done, and it just makes it a lot more simpler for me. So you can use either a stitch marker or you can just count it out, but I'm probably going to put a stitch marker in just to make it easier for myself. So I'm doing the left hand version here, and all I want to just do is, it says count over 7, so we want to go into the 8. So I'm just counting back, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and go in the 8th, and that's where I'm going to put a stitch marker, is in the 8th. That's where I'm going to start. And the reason why I'm doing this is my little helpful tip. You can either count the next stitches, but I would suggest you do something a little more easier for yourself. Why don't you just look down and just naturally let it fall. Let that yarn fall down, and you will find the immediate other side of it. Or you can count back 7 on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 go in the 8th on this side over here. And I'm going to put another stitch marker. And this matters because you want to make sure that it's relatively center, because this is going to be the back of the heel area when it comes to your shoe or your bootie. So I'm just going to look at it now. Are they both straight? If not, this is an opportunity to be able to fix it before you start worrying about your stitches and then realizing it's wrong. So I want to make sure that these are relatively at the same point, and if not, just move one. You know, if it just doesn't look right, I'm going to move it one more down. So I'm just looking across. So it's just a matter of eyeing it up. Sometimes your eyes are better than, you know, counting things out. I want to count that one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm gonna go in the 7th one on this side. I'm kind of ad-libbing from the directions, but you got to do what works for you. That's the bottom line with crochet. So you can see now that when you're looking down from the top, it looks like it's relatively at the same spot, and that's one thing I really like to concentrate on. If not, this is your opportunity to move it. You can actually fold it in half too if you really wanted to, and determine what if it really was. So yeah, that's pretty simple too. So I'm going to start on the left, so let's fasten on the yarn to the back of the shoe here and work our way around the front. So I'm now ready to go along. I am doing the left hand version right where the back one is here. Remember, this is the front of the bootie here. I am doing the left as I just said. Going in, and I just want to loop this around, and I don't want any knots, so I'm just going to pull it through. Just nice and snug through. And I want to just let the string fall. That's just the loose end, and I want to lay it on top of the line, and I want to crochet that into position. So let's start off. We're just going to crochet our chain 2, and now coming into the next stitch, and I just want to make sure that straggler is on top of the line, because that is getting stuck underneath it so that your project doesn't fall apart afterward. And it's a great way of hiding the loose ends without any knots as well. So I need you to crochet all the way to the stitch marker on the other side and stop, and we're going to start doing the front top strap of this bootie next. So don't fasten off, just meet me at that point. So let's begin doing the top of the strap. Again, you are looking at the left hand version of the bootie. Right hand would be probably turned the other way as I'm working on it, because you'll be coming around this way instead. So we're just going to chain 6. So we've finished off at the stitch marker. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now it says to single crochet into the side of this T-strap. So we just want to come into the very side piece at the very top, and we're just going to single crochet. So through and through, and now we're going to come into the other side of the strap. Okay, through, and now we're going to chain 12. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and this is your strap. This is also your loophole. So what we have to do is count back 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and on that 6th one is where we want to stick our hook for the first single crochet. So going in, and this just creates the loop for your button. So we're just going to single crochet ourselves now back through this line over top of the shoe and around the back. So let me get you past the front. So we're just making that front strap a little more solid than just one single chain. So now there's two, basically working alongside of each other. Okay, we're now at the T-strap. Okay, so we're coming up over top of the T-strap. This is that. There's that stitch of single crochet, and then there's another one. So you can make sure that you do get the 2 single crochets that you already did there, and working across again the chain to the other side. The chain is a little challenging. I must admit a little bit, but you get used to it. Sometimes my camera angle too is more convenient for you than it is for myself. So coming into the final. So now that we've got that, we just have to go back in, and now we single crochet ourselves all the way back to where we started, and we are literally almost done. We just got to put a little button on this project. So we're coming up to the very end now, and we are just finalizing the single crochets right to the end where we started. Make sure you do go right to the end, that final one. And now we're just going to fasten off and weave in our ends very nicely. We are now done. We just have to now sew on a button, and the button must go through that little loophole that we started, that you have. So you got to make sure if you're looking for buttons that it actually is going to fit through a little loop, just like that. And sometimes I like my buttons, so that the point is that I like to make sure that they match or complement the project. So I can now clean this up. I can get rid of all the little stragglers that are hanging out because I took extra care when I was doing it to make sure that they were all weaved in as I go. And these are from the back. These are from when I was doing the tops, just like that. And I want to do a better job of this one here. You want to use a sewing needle or a sewing thread and just kind of pull it down through the project and just tie it down so it's tucked in between. And so voila, you basically have a new baby booty. Taking out my stitch markers, and all you're just going to do now is that you're just going to grab a button and you're going to sew it to the side right about there, just like there. Now if you're a concerned parent, you may want to sew it in as tight as you can, and then some recommend putting some hot glue on the back of this to put it right into the material, just like so, so it's extra security so it doesn't fall off and cause a choking hazard. And all people can just do now is that you just take this and you loop it up over the top. It'll be underneath the button, just like so, and voila, you now have your T-strap baby booties. Very, very easy and a fun little project to do. So here you have it, a gorgeous set of little T-strap baby booties, good to go. Really quite a fabulous and easy pattern to follow. Once you get hooked on these, you might actually find yourself doing several sets because they really are no big deal. Thank you for joining me on behalf of redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, wishing you a fabulous day. Until next time, we'll see ya.